Hi guys, this is JB and Minot, and here I am, my latest Pixel video for the month of April. It's an all-Switch edition. As of right now, I've got 60 Switch games, and there's so many more out there that I want to get. And everybody's saying, well, there are no games for the Switch coming out. There are plenty of games for the Switch coming out. A lot of ports coming out for the Switch, but a lot of cheaper titles too coming out. They're not all $60 like they used to be. Some of them are still a little bit too expensive. But I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games here I'm going to show you that I got. I've only played about 5 of them so far, but don't tell me the Switch has no games. Anyway, here we go for the month of April. Starting off with Max, The Curse of Brotherhood. This is a sequel to a DS game that had a good idea where you use a magic marker to solve puzzles, but the controls on it were lousy. This one, I've only gone through the first level, and I'm getting it mixed reviews. The platforming part, especially when you got to be timed, kind of sucks, but the puzzle portions appear to be excellent so far. You don't use touch controls like you did on the other game, but the controls seem to be intuitive so far. I got to get a little bit further in there to give a good detail. This is a first impression, but it was a cheap game, and if they stick with more of the puzzle elements as opposed to the platformer elements, this could be a great game. Okay, Wild Guns Reloaded. I think this is a remake of an old SNES game, and it's basically kind of a shooting gallery type game where you got a guy, where you got a background and you're shooting all the bad guys in the background using your buttons, and I think there's a way to use it to where you can use the Joy-Cons for triggers. But for first person, the controls are kind of spotty on it. It's got a beginner's mode so that you don't have to start, so that when you get killed you don't have to start all over again. But it's kind of a difficult game to control. But they did it back in the day, so I figured there's a way to do it now. But the graphics on it are cool. It's a real fun. It could be a real fun game if I can get a handle of the controls. Curvy Star Allies. With this Kirby game, it's your typical Kirby game, only the difference is you can make allies. You can take some of your enemies, and instead of just taking their powers, you can throw a heart at them and make them your ally. And you can have an ally of up to 3 of them, and they can also enhance any weapons that you have with their powers. And it's pretty charming so far. Like I said, the best thing about Kirby games is that they're a little bit too easy, but the main thing is going back through the levels and trying to find all the items that are missing that you can collect. And there's that. It's really charming. The graphics look really, really good on it. MXGP 3. Yeah, MXGP. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, MXGP 3. It's a motorcycle racing game, obviously. It's kind of difficult. Racing games are really tough for me. The thing I hate about racing games is that if you're playing against computer opponents, they never make a mistake, whereas you can make a bunch of them just getting used to it. The controls on here, there's a lot of things you need to know about the controls. There's a long tutorial. But it's a nice looking game. It can be a fun game once you learn how to play it. Okay. Penny Punching Princess. It's a very charming game. Looks like 16-bit. You're basically this it's an action game, and you're this princess, and what you have to do is you have to build up resources for your kingdom, but you need money to do that. And what you have to do is you have to beat up the enemies and take as much money from them as you can while you're beating them up, and you have to bribe certain people to get certain items. Some items you have to pay for. It's hard to explain. It's got a calculator mode, and what you have to do is you can use touch controls, you can use buttons, but you have to buy certain resources. Instead of just finding the resources, you got to buy them. You can bribe your enemies to leave you alone or to lie with you. And it's a pretty charming game so far. The controls take some time to getting used to, but other than that, it's a very fun game, really charming game. Okay, Payday II. This was the last one in the store. They had it for a week, but it was hard to find for a while. I've never played the Payday games. These kind of like remind me of Tenchu or Metal Gear Solid. You're basically robbing banks or robbing people. You got to use stealth most of the time. Different tactics. There was a bunch of games on the PSP SOCOM where you have to plan out a certain tactic or strategy, and there's that. So the controls, like I said, those need to get. I have to get used to those controls too. Okay, these next 3 games I haven't really played yet, but I had to special order this from Best Buy. This is The Police. It's basically you're running a police station, and it's a crime fighting simulator, kind of like a resource type simulator. I don't think there's any platforming or anything like that in there. It's getting mixed reviews. Depends on who you talk to. But I believe it's a port from a download only type game. But there's that. Farming Simulator, Nintendo Switch Edition. There's 100 of these games out there, so this simulator must be popular. I'm going to have to play it one time. I got this for 30 bucks, pre-owned. And there's that. Last but not least is Darkest Dungeon, Ancestral Edition. It includes Crimson Court and the Shield Breaker. Apparently this is an adaptation of a game that comes on other consoles. But they say it's more than just monsters that can get you on this. You got to worry about starvation. You got to worry about stress and fear. And it's I guess it's a turn-based game. Haven't played it yet, but apparently it was popular enough to have DLCs to it. So there's that. Okay, guys, that was just a quick video to take a little bit of time out of your Sunday. I hope you enjoyed it, and I got 60 Switch games so far. Probably by the end of the year I'll have 100. God willing, if I don't go broke. But anyway, you guys have a nice May. As you can see, spring is finally here. And I hope you enjoy yourselves. God bless. Bye-bye.